Everybody can see a Chinese soldier standing in the shooting position. He opens fire. The bullets hit human flesh. Tibetans fall to the ground. One of them seems to escape the bullets but is hit by a second round.
Pema Somo, aged 5, is one such Tibetan who crossed over the Himalayas with a monk from her village in Tibet to reach the Tibetan children's village. Pema's parents in Tibet made this heart-wrenching decision so that she would escape the dismal fate that faces every Tibetan under the Chinese occupation. Every month, 30 to 50 children arrive from Tibet at the Tibetan children's village, having escaped the murder in the Himalayas. The Tibetan Children's Village was established to take care of children affected by the human disaster in the wake of the Chinese attack on Tibet in 1959. Refugees from Tibet continue to pour into India, some of them as young as 5 years old, who are taken care of at the Tibetan Children's Village.
My name is Tsedup. I was born in Tibet. I came to India in 1984 at the age of 10.
11 till age of 11 I was in Tibet. I have an uncle in Nepal. He came to Tibet in 1981 and he has knowledge about school in Dharamsala, and then he has seen also. So when he visited Tibet, he talked about TCV school. Dalai Lama, he used to say Dalai Lama's school. Then I was also inspired to, go to school, and I never had a school in Tibet. So, and beside this, my parents also want me to leave Tibet and get some education and get the blessing of His Holiness. And therefore, the decision was, mutual decision by myself and my parents.
And I'm from Tibet. I arrived here in 2004. First, I joined TCVB. After I finished my class 10, I joined upper TCV. I think 11 years.
And I came to India when I was 8. I came with my brother and my mother.
A lot still. We have done much, but still lots to be done. We are still in exile, and whatever we do here in exile, first and foremost, it's crucially important that we are doing this in the context of what is happening back in Tibet. So from that point of view, despite the iron grip with which China rules Tibet, I think there's going to we are going to continue to receive children out of Tibet, even if it's a trickle. But then I'm sure with the deteriorating situation in Tibet, people will somehow or other find ways to come out. And this is what we have to be all the time prepared, always wanting to do the best and meet the challenges as they come forward. And then apart from this, there are still many impoverished children born in remote areas, inaccessible regions in the border.
Presently, the Tibetan Children's Village takes care of over 16,000 children and teenagers.
My name is Lobsang Tsomo, and I work as the project coordinator at the head office of the Tibetan Children's Village. I've been working here for the last 20 years now, and in various capacities. And as the project coordinator, maybe I've been associated for the last 7 years, when my former colleague left for his study program. And I grew up in the children's village here, so it's like coming back to the family. I came here when I was 8 years old with my siblings when our father passed away. We used to live in one of the settlements in South India, and since I was 8, I had lived my whole school life here. I've been working here, so it's been 35 years since I'm in Dharamsala. TCV's need is varied, vast, and very situational, you know. With more and more children coming out of Tibet in the early, after the 80s, the second influx of refugees coming out of Tibet, the needs, you know, we started to expand into, you know, across India with various different schools and other facilities. Our needs are like, it expands every year, you know, with more and more children coming into our care. And today we look after over 16,000 children and young youths in about 19 schools.
More than education is the fact that TCV gave me this sense of belonging. If someone asks me where I come from, I would say TCV most likely. And this, I think, is important, especially for people like us who are being dislocated from the place where I was born. So everything that I could identify myself was taken away from me. So there was nothing left of me. So TCV gave me that, you know, in that, because I was dislocated, it gave me a lot of loneliness and isolation, dissolution. But then the fact that TCV gave me that sense of belonging, that I belong here, and that, I think, it's very important, especially for refugees. You know, that's a sense of belonging and a sense of identity, that you have at least some kind of home away from home. You know, I think that I think is really important.
All Tibetans hope to go back to Tibet someday.
You know, every Tibetan here, we've all lived at various places, you know, all over the world. Like, you know, I've lived here. There are so many Tibetans living in Canada, Australia, everywhere in Europe. But eventually, I think, maybe not right away, but we all hope to go back to Tibet. You know, that's where our country is. I mean, that's our home.
Since we have to disseminate the information, the requirements, the future requirements of Tibet. So of late, our emphasis on higher studies is more students in the specialized studies. This is a greater focus because future Tibet will need many professionals. So this is where we will try to disperse them into different areas of studies. So specialized is one focus. We want as many of them to spread out in different fields of study. This is very crucial. And this is why His Holiness is not only the immediate need, it's in keeping with the long-term needs of future Tibet.
My name is Tenzin Tashi. Yeah, and that name was given by His Holiness. Something I want to develop something software programming, some kind of iPhone applications or maybe Android software developer. I thought of doing that kind of stuff. So till now.
Right from the beginning, His Holiness' vision for the Tibetan children to be future seeds of Tibet is they must not only have modern education, but it must be deeply rooted in our culture. That is the main reason why he insisted Pandit Nehru to have separate schools for Tibetans so that we don't lose our identity, we don't lose our culture. So this has been right from the beginning emphasized.
Every Tibetan who are from TCV and other Tibetan school, you will see the Tibetan identity in each of them. It's all because of TCV. Because Tibetans, TCV doesn't only provide the modern education, but also Tibetan culture, language. To be a Tibetan, you have to be Tibetan, right? You have to think Tibetan, you have to preserve your culture, and these Tibetan institutions like TCV is a vital player in making sure Tibetans, youngsters learn the cultural heritage to preserve the identity, and in that way, in that sense, TCV is takes a very important role.
Helping Tibetan Children's Village is helping the most important asset of Tibet, the coming generation. Tibetan Children's Village is the place where 5-year-old Pema Somo, who may never see her parent again, can lead a normal, happy childhood. Not doing anything is not an option. Let us help. Please make a donation for Tibetan Children's Village at the website of Tibet House of California today. Please point your browser to http:// thcal.us.